Welcome to the Pot of Gold podcast, where we talk about finances, wealth generation, and real estate investing. Today on the show, we have Jody Ogden, who's a member of my coaching program, The Growth Co. And he's looking to build a buy and hold portfolio where he's going to be helping other people with their building of their portfolio, wholesalers as being able to purchase properties or get an assignment through those purchases, and as well as people who are looking to earn returns on private money lending. How are you doing today, Jody?
Doing great. How about yourself today, Nathaniel?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate you being on the show today. I was just hoping to get started right away with asking you to kind of just give us a little bit about yourself and how you got started on this journey.
Well, so the journey really started when I was real young, as far as on the entrepreneur side. At 8 years old, I figured out I could pick up pecans from neighbors that had them and sell them to neighbors that didn't. so that turned into other ventures, lemonade stand, snow cone stand, that kind of stuff. And then I went to contraband candy in school. Until a teacher,
Contraband candy. That
yeah,
sounds like
just
an exciting story.
I was just selling gum, and then it went to cinnamon toothpicks, and I
But
was
it
making
wasn't
pretty.
allowed in the school, I'm assuming.
Yeah, when a teacher finally shut me down, that got the entrepreneur stuff, I guess, out of my system for a while. Not that it ever did, but then years later, um, get back into it. And when I found out about real estate, it was like a no brainer. My first house was basically a property that all three houses needed work. We moved into the one bedroom, one bath, me and my new family. And then I took and fixed up the other house and rented it out, and then determined that the middle house wasn't just worth it. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, that's pretty much how the journey got started in real estate. And it hasn't been continuous, but I think the system done pretty good at beating stuff out of me that was naturally in me too. So,
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because I kind of have a similar experience when I was younger.
yeah, it's just that I was literally good at the system. I was good at school, and obviously they don't teach you what you need to know in business. And in fact, if you're good at school, chances of you being successful in business are less than if you're not good in school, that I see anyway. And
Well,
so needless to say, it was the way of thinking, I guess, that they got me in instead of out of the entrepreneur stuff.
Well, one of the things that I've realized recently is that it's kind of a difference between what they call convergent and divergent thinking. And with convergent thinking, you typically have a single answer, single solution for a problem. But with divergent thinking, there's multiple ways to solve a problem. And I feel like the school system's tilted towards the one side of there's always a single answer for a problem, while the entrepreneurship, there's multiple solutions. And so sometimes it's hard to switch from one type of thinking to the other.
Absolutely. I think you nailed it there. That's exactly it.
But there's definitely utility in the school system for many people. And it's something that I wonder about because it's hard to change a system so established or make improvements to it just because it's like trying to change tradition. And tradition often is something that is calcified.
Yeah,
I think that's the word I'm looking for. But at the same time, everyone needs to learn how to read and write, and everyone needs to learn how to do math and those other things too. So like there's utility there still.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Kind
it's
of depends on what
unfortunate
you
that
want for your
honestly,
children.
pardon?
I said it kind of depends on what you want for your children, or maybe what their goals and dreams are, because there's different solutions for different problems.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm not bashing the system. It's decent, and the thing is it's good for 1/3 of the population. Really, is what it seems like. The other two are just left out in the cold of you know they weren't so good at the system.
No, it makes sense. I remember I had to go through algebra 3 times because I was good enough at math that I was able to pass it fairly quickly, but then we didn't have any more courses uh, to provide, so it just made me take it over and over and over again.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so I ended up being really non-performative second and third times. I wouldn't do the homework and stuff. I was like, I already know all this stuff. Why am I bothering with this? And so things were impacted. But as a child, you don't really see the impact, the long term impact of certain decisions either. So maybe it would be better to ace the class every single time. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's cool. I know that we've talked a little bit about things in our coaching course, but I know that you're trying to help a specific type of person learn how to do investing, right? The people that are working in the oil industry, or what is
Oil
what?
industry or high income earners, yeah, both.
Okay.
Mostly oil field because it's what I've got. Well, it's what I grew up around, and then have worked in the past too. So,
And so, what kind of opportunities are you trying to help those people accomplish
well,
or
the
take advantage of?
my main focus is on the tax side. You know, a high income earner pays way too
Okay.
much in taxes, way more than their fair share. And so I try to educate them on there's ways to keep your money, legal ways to keep your money and actually put your money to work where it makes more money instead of just handing it over to the IRS. So,
Gotcha.
um,
Well, and I don't know if all the people that are out there really understand that part of the tax code has incentives in it that if you take part in certain activities, you are able to get deductions or what's the word? It's the opposite of an amortization, depreciation on the things that you're purchasing and participating in. And as far as I'm aware, the 4 things that you can do to take advantage of the tax strategies that are written in the tax code is invest in real estate. There's the energy sector. There's commodities like gold and silver. And then I'm trying to think of the 4th one. It escapes me at the moment, but I'll probably write it in the comments or the description for the YouTube later on it'll come to me later.
yeah, there's actually art would be one of them too, right?
Okay, maybe it's possible that that's the one I'm missing. But that's why I got started into real estate myself, was that I realized that there are reasons to be engaged in these things apart just from generating wealth. Is that there's more money that you can keep if you do things right, because the government wants you to do these things. Because for real estate, at least, the idea is that the more investors that participate in real estate investing, the better chance we have at solving problems like the affordability crisis.
Absolutely. And they,
So,
I guess that is one of the decent things that they do is try to incentivize where they know that they can't handle the everything. So, um, yeah,
but it's been really cool. I've learned a lot over the last year and I'd say about a year and a half now. And the course that we're in with Jesse Stanton has been really illuminating. I've been thinking about things a lot differently since I started working with him and working together with you. On that topic, he's taught us about the importance of hiring from the top down. I know that you and your partner have recently been looking into hiring an operations manager. How's that going for you?
well, it looks like we've got one hired. We've got her the offer. She's got the contract, looking over it and whatnot. So, um, hopefully, it's going real well. I He also went into talking about the executive assistant, which
Mm-hmm.
I was all for. I don't know how he's delegated enough off of his plate, but I haven't. I'm not there. So, needless to say, I got on that bandwagon quick. And while I was talking to the wife about it, I kind of cheated a little bit, I guess. She's been a great employee for other people. I knew how great of an employee she has been and would be, and never have got her involved in my stuff. Now, she's always supported it, never got her involved though. And I was talking to her about hiring EA, or an executive assistant, and she asked basically what it would pay. I told her what I was thinking, and she said yeah. So um, she's become the administrator or executive assistant, and so far it's done pretty good. I mean, last 3 days she was sick, so you saw her moving around a little bit today. That's
Okay.
She's doing way better today. But literally the first day that we talked about it, she so some of these groups I'm in are actually they teach people the same thing about money and the tools that the government gives us to utilize to to take our investments to a new level, I guess, and get more tax benefits out of them. And anyway, one of those groups where I was going slow with getting the names out of to where I can contact and reach out to them. She's got me. Well, I've got a few, but there's like 50 in my book here that she's got that I haven't made the contact of, and I've been doing it consistently daily trying to catch up to her. And then she's got, needless to say, another stack back here already ready for me. So um,
Gonna keep you busy, huh?
oh yeah, yeah, which um, is good. And then I, in the process of creating the chaos that Jesse talks about and whatnot, I come across the portfolio, and um, it's I think it'll be a great deal. I mean, the dollars make sense with the number of properties versus the dollar amount, just on that end of it, and knowing what in this market that it's in, knowing the market well enough to know what I can make out of it. I think it's real good. But needless to say, handed her off that list yesterday and had her go to the county's website, even while she was sick. I was expecting to do it today or after she got better or whatever. And literally last night while she was sick, she goes to the county's website and gets information on all 38 properties and hands back to me last night. If I was sick, I ain't doing nothing. But she's like productive, even sick.
On top of things, huh? Well,
Yeah.
that's really cool. So I know that we understand kind of the reasoning behind hiring an operations manager or an executive assistant, but maybe you could kind of explain that a little bit for our audience about the reasoning behind that.
Well, in all honesty, Nathaniel, I think it's brilliant. Honestly, I've started dozens of businesses. I mean, since my first business, that was actually a business. It was multi-level marketing. I think my parents got me in it like I was 16 or 17. And so over the years, I've always had a side business, even with the W 2. And, the fact of hiring from the top down and then operating in your zone of genius is, I probably would have been way more successful at a lot more of those businesses just on flipping that on its side. And the
Mm,
benefit of even learning that is like some of the business owners that I've met and conversed with these last few weeks and stuff too. They built theirs the hard way from the bottom up, and they're successful businesses, and or somewhat successful businesses, I should say. One, he's been operating his business for 15 years, and he's burned out on that business because he's in the daily grind of that business. It don't operate without him. Um, some mindset maybe on a little bit of it, but it's also, after you've done stuff so much and it's kicked you in the teeth so much, then you just go to thinking, well, that's just the way it is too.
mm,
And so um, whereas I see that same business, if there's a way to come in and operate it from the top down, then you get a whole different result, literally the result he's aiming for with some other businesses that he's got started now too. So
yeah, it's been
um,
really cool to watch. I've
yeah.
been trying to do my part to hire my own operations manager. I'm not very experienced with that yet. It's a skill that I'm working on, but we're learning. We're making progress. So it's been exciting to kind of go through the different things. I'm reading a book right now about hiring, and it's been an interesting read. Trying to establish my own core values for my business, my company, as well as the kind of setting up kind of a profile of an ideal person that I'd want to work with or have teach me. Because basically, what you're doing when you hire from the top down is you're hiring people that know more than you so that they can teach you things along the way, and you take care of strategy and be in the face of the company. And it's
Yeah.
been a cool thing to kind of experience that. But yeah, congratulations. I'm glad to hear that seems to be going well for you. As far as your real estate stuff is concerned, have you run into any kind of problems as you did real estate deals throughout the years? And what kind of problems were they? How did you overcome them?
Yeah. Yeah. Never expected a lot. So I guess the most frequent, the most recent one would be this last year. We put a tiny house in the backyard of, or an ADU in the back of one of the properties in the back yard. And since my W 2 has me off working during the summer, and I started this project in the spring, I knew I wouldn't be able to do it myself anyway, which is probably a good thing. But I hired a contractor. I didn't go out getting multiple bids. It was a family friend. He was a contractor. Well, I end up finding out, the hard way that he's overpriced, and then the skill level wasn't up to par on top of it. So I'm paying too much and getting subpar results on top of it.
Uh,
Um,
got it.
so um, the whole fire fast uh, that you hear all the time, hire slowly, fire fast. I obviously did that backwards both ways. And well, because it's a friend. I knew that I got other friends in construction here in this area too, and needless to say, I know how busy they are and how hard it is to get them and whatnot. So that's where the holding on and the scarcity mindset there worked against me. But
Got it.
after the mistakes were too much, I went ahead and just cut ties. And then fortunately, it worked out to where things with the W 2 brought me home for a week. I went over, picked up my dad, and brought him back to help me get it done. We got it done and knocked out in the week that I had. And now it's making pretty good money.
Cool.
So,
Sometimes you just need to get in and do the work yourself. It's been interesting. I've been reading this book called Great CEOs Are Lazy. And it talks about 5 different hats you can wear. And one of them is the player hat, where you're supposed to get in and grind. But the idea is to get in there and learn the business and all the different processes that are associated with it so that you can systematize it and step out of the player role as soon as possible. And I don't know, it seems pretty intuitive to me, but I know that a lot of people get stuck in operating their business. And part of what we're talking about today is learning how to develop the skill of delegation and give it to other people. But sometimes that's going to require you to fail with your experiments of delegation and then have to step in and do it yourself because you chose the wrong person.
yeah.
But that doesn't have to happen every single time. As you continue to do things, you'll learn and find out how to systematize things so that you can start to outsource those things continually, which is really
Yes,
cool.
sir.
I really like the concept.
The bonus side too is being in these courses of Jesse's, because I'm in two of his programs, and learning some of the stuff like hiring with a contract and withdrawals and like that, instead of throwing half up front or like that,
Mm,
like most want. That would have saved me too, I think. Um, so definitely, getting the right mentorship, I think, is huge.
and okay, let's go into that a little bit. I agree with you definitely. I like the idea of having a mentor and or a coach. But what would you say the reason for that would be?
Well, if you can shortcut your learning curve, and literally, yeah, most good mentors cost, but the shortcut is going to save you, And then, like in this instance with the whole contractor thing, if I'd had that information up front and done it, well, it would have saved that whole headache and everything too. Not only that, the like I said, it was a family friend, so the hard feelings that come afterwards from you having to cut ties with somebody you know is could have been saved too, just by knowing, this is the process I need, and it would have saved that. Um, and then, yeah, like I say, the shortcutting, it may have took me this much time to learn that, but now it's easier to teach somebody that as well, so they don't have to go through the same thing.
I completely agree with that. And I think it's important to realize that all these people that we admire that are super successful at doing whatever it is they're doing, those people have coaches. Like,
Absolutely.
if you look at people in sports, they have coaches. If you look at musicians, they have people that taught them as they were learning how to become a musician. Like, it doesn't matter what aspect of life that you're thinking about, they have someone that's helping them along their journey and their
Yep.
path. And if you decide that you don't need that, you're putting yourself as at a disadvantage, I'd say.
A huge disadvantage. In fact, I was reading a book, well, that the growth code pointed out to us the one thing, and
Oh
how
yeah,
it even talks in there how Einstein had the guy that went and visited them and led him into his genius. So,
mm-hmm.
I mean, Einstein, one of the smartest people to live, and he had a coach.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You had a coach too. It's
yep.
really interesting to me because there's also part of our culture, at least where I've lived and grown up, that really emphasizes self-sufficiency and doing things on your own, independence, right? But as I've started to engage in business, I've also started to realize that none of us live in a vacuum. None of us make any money without another person involved, and uh, everything has to do with relationships. Everything exists in relationship to everything else. So, like, the idea of being an island is kind of I think it's a misunderstanding of the way the world works.
Yeah, not only misunderstanding it puts you at a huge disadvantage. And of course, I'm 50 plus years old and just learning this because I was that island. I can do it on my own, and that's how most of the life has been, is I can do this. And I'm not afraid of hard work or putting the time in and all that. But reality is some of this, and in learning what we've gone through, is that zone of genius. All the
Yeah,
stuff that I force myself to do, that yes, I can do, I can learn how to do anything. But should I be doing it? That's the key. And then if I'm operating just in my zone of genius, then all the other tasks, I need to find people that their zone of genius is that task.
that thing.
So
Yeah,
the teaming up and building the relationships, and whether it be employee or partner or however, that's just huge. I wish I'd have got that 20 years ago or 30.
yeah, exactly. And I think part of what's important to realize is that the zone of genius is the thing that not only are you good at, but it's also the thing you enjoy doing, and it's the thing that you can make money with. So there's aspects to it. It's not just like what you're good at. It's also what you enjoy. It's also what you can make money doing. And if you can combine all three of those things and do that for each person in your company, your team that you're building, then you're going to accelerate. It's like having a headwind versus a tailwind. One of them is going to make you go faster than the other one. Another one, you're kind of going uphill.
Yep.
But
Also, it seems like, well, to me, since I've been operating more that way, it seems like it's a whole lot less work because it's just part of the natural flow. I
yeah,
mean, it took me a while to figure out what my zone of genius was too. I mean, first time actually in sub two community, the first time somebody asked me what my superpower was, I was like, I didn't know how to respond. Right?
yeah,
My whole life, I don't have a superpower. I can do anything. But But needless to say, when I went to searching for it, I went to asking the people that are around me and know me the best. And then when I take, their info and put it with things I know about me too, I figure out what the zone of genius is. And, it's just been a whole lot easier to operate there than, and a whole lot less effort. Um,
Got it.
Time will tell if it pays off for me, but I'm sure it will.
So now I'm curious. So what did you identify as your zone of genius?
Talking, man.
Talking.
Talking. So
Yeah.
most of my early life, I mean, all the way through high school, I was an introvert. And toward the end of high school, um, I got to drinking. Teenagers do stupid stuff, and um, fortunately, we'd always done it smart. Me and my best friend, we'd go out and drinking, and we always had a designated driver. And so the one time that we're out drinking, and of course I had a job to go to at midnight. I worked at a convenience store and worked overnights on the weekend. So my best friend's passed out in the front seat of the truck. I left the keys in it, didn't think twice about it. He's passed out, right? Well, he drives. He don't make it very far. He gets the DUI. We quit drinking, and I become the extrovert when I was drinking, and just figured out that hey, I don't got to be drinking to be that way.
Being an extrovert.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Life become a whole lot more fun, and I went from literally being an introvert to an extrovert right then.
Huh. So, some kind of a change that I've been trying to work on myself, because my story that I had the assault that happened and the right side of my skull crushed, and it's been really exciting to learn that I do enjoy socializing with other people. I just had to get around some of the trauma that I had. It's just people have different paths they have to walk, and
Yep.
different lessons they have to learn. But it's been exciting, and it's really cool to hear that you kind of had the same realization that you can be an extrovert. I like that.
Yeah, it was. It was a whole lot more fun too. In all honesty, back then at least you got to remember all of it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, cool. What do you think the future looks like for you and your business?
so I actually foresee this one venture where I focused on the real estate becoming a few different ones because it's going to branch off in some of the other stuff you have to do and whatnot as well. And then I I really jumped into sub two when I did because of the business buying aspect. So I definitely will get back into that in the future too, because like I said, I've been an entrepreneur forever, and I think that's another thing that learning from mentorships can do for you early on. Where I was always trying to start one to buy one that's already up and running and turn it into something better. That's definitely a better route to go than getting in there and building from the ground up.
Oh, it makes sense. There's like a statistic like 4 out of 5 businesses fail within the first 5 years or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the specific statistic is. I just know it's really high like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's 4 out of 5, and then um, in that second 5 years, 8 out of 10 of those that made it the first five. So,
okay.
if you
And
get a
so,
business that's over 10 years old, you've got a whole lot better chance of it being successful and you turning it to even something more.
and then that's kind of where we're stepping into looking at business acquisitions. We find
Yes,
businesses
sir.
that have that record of success, and then we go in and we look at things on how you can improve them and scale them up, and then you can increase the ROI on those businesses.
Yeah. And that's the bonus side to too what Jesse's teaching in the growth co coming full circle is you come into these operations that have been running from the ground up forever, and you come in and build the system that it will run on, and you get the best of both worlds there.
Very cool. And then before that happens, though, you're looking at doing real estate and helping people who are high income earners and people in the oil field industry earn better returns on their money and tax benefits. how can those people connect with you about your deals so that they can take advantage of that opportunity?
So they can hit me up there on my Instagram and shoot me a message. And then I've got systems that we're literally building right now that'll keep in contact and do some of the training through emails and whatnot. The goal is to start a podcast soon. In fact, I've got some of
Okay.
the marketing out for starting it. And I think we're going to roll with starting, well, not think, I got some of them already in the pipeline of in interviewing professionals that do this stuff day in and day out, CPAs, tax accountants, and bookkeepers, all that, to get the streamline there going, and to teach what the rules are, so you know the rules, so you can play by the rules and get all the benefits of it without breaking the rules and losing it all because you didn't know the rule.
Yeah,
So I think
exactly.
that's the benefit.
Definitely won't want to violate the IRS codes and stuff. We want to make money, not go to jail.
Well, I mean, I've been on the opposite side of it, so I've done it where it wasn't necessarily legal. I wouldn't say it was illegal. I just decided that I wasn't going to pay taxes anymore. It's not necessary, right? Obviously you can find a lot of stuff online, and I did and went through that stage and ended up with a big bill from the IRS.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
uh, bad thing is I did it in some of the highest income earning jobs that I had up till that time too. So it was like it could have been real bad. The bonus
Yeah,
side
it's
is
going to be pretty hard, huh?
if you go back and look at the tax code and you look at the right things, I turned a very big bill into one that was a whole lot more palatable just by knowing what I could have done that I just didn't do to get the
Mm,
breaks and whatnot that I literally qualified for, I guess is the way to put it. Because I did and just didn't want to take the time to do it. And after I got a $20,000 bill from the IRS, I decided I'm going to sit down and do the work to get
time
this
to
down.
make this different, huh?
Yeah. Yep. And from then on, I've already tried the wrong way, so now I know that the right way. There's plenty of ways to do it legally and the right way.
Hmm.
Do it legally in the right way, and the bonus side too, that the extra bonus in doing it the legal and right way is you're going to end up making more money, and then you just got to turn that money into more things to turn more profit, to turn more money, to just it's a perpetual wheel that it will be.
Yeah,
So
that compound interest at work.
yes, sir.
Yeah,
And
makes
then
sense.
the fact of with like real estate, you get the benefit of while you're making money, you get the depreciation of it, and then you get the appreciation on the other side. So you're growing money two different ways, while while getting the tax write off like you're not growing the money. And then you get to when you get to the point that you need to upgrade your property or whatever, you got the 1031 exchange, so you
Yep.
still legally avoid taxes that way too.
And then
And
you
then
also have
the
a loan pay down from your tenants.
yep,
All it works together pretty well.
absolutely. And then there's still things like a CESA, an HSA, um, self-directed accounts like that,
Hmm.
401k, Roth, all that self-directed stuff. There's just more ways to offset your taxes and grow your wealth.
Very cool.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited to see what you get put together and how things progress for you, Jody. If you have any recommendations for people that are just getting started, kinds of resources they can turn to, YouTube channels, books they can read.
I would definitely say, depending on what you're doing, that's going to depend on what you want to focus on is where you go. Obviously, there's a too much information in sub two, so you can, no matter what it is to do with real estate, I think you can find it in the community there. Um, if you're looking at starting on the buy and hold instead of the other avenues and whatnot, I think Jesse's is definitely a route to go as far as a mentorship. And then, yeah, you can always reach out to me and I can try to point you in the way that leads you to what's going to suit you and what your goals are the best, because there's a vast array of what you can do in real estate. Everything from single family to multifamily to dirt. You just the exit strategies and the ways to get there are so numerous that doing it without a guide is probably the hardest way and the slowest way. It's still a way, so I wouldn't not do it.
Yeah.
It's just better to have a tool to get you there faster, if you ask me.
Well, sounds good. I appreciate your time today. And if anyone wants to connect with either myself or Jody, you can find us both on Instagram. Mine's at Nathaniel_Opolis, and Jody is at Joe_altitude. And we're more than willing to answer your questions if you have any questions for us. And we look forward to hearing from you. This has been the Pot of Gold podcast, where we talk about wealth generation, finances, and real estate investing. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.